Hi everybody, and welcome to episode 26 of This Old Knit. I am your host, Nina, otherwise known as Ine, on Ravelry, Instagram, and Pinterest. It is late Sunday evening, and I wanted to make sure that I got something recorded this week, because I'm probably going to be pretty busy this week, and if I don't do it now, I probably won't have another opportunity until next week, and I didn't want to miss going a week without talking to you guys. So, I have a little bit of a new background. So today I took a little bit of time to clean up some areas of what used to be Megwin's playroom, and it's sort of a dual purpose room right now. It's a playroom slash stash room, craft room, and we had a large TV here, one that my husband had got from his father when he passed away, and we don't really use it anymore because we got a smaller TV from my mom when her office closed down that we put into Megwin's room so she can watch her movies on it. It actually has a VHS player in it, and we have quite a few old Disney movies. So she's watching one of those right now. She's watching Aladdin. Yeah, so it actually fits into a little cubby that is in one wall of her room. She has built-in shelving because it doesn't have a closet. So it fits perfectly, and it's really great. So we just didn't have a need for that large TV. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice if I set up a little sewing area? And we already had this desk. This used to be my desk downstairs. I actually have a different one now. So my husband took the TV into the basement, and I set up my sewing machine, and I'm really, really excited. I love how it came together. The room looks pretty good now that I've got things a little bit more straightened up, and I will also have a place to work from home when I do that. So I do that periodically. If I'm ill, I'll still work from home, or if like my husband has an appointment or something like that and he needs me to take care of the kids, then I'll just try to work from home that day and just take like an hour break or something so that I can watch them and help out till he gets back. And it saves us on having to pay for daycare just for a day. So I set up like a little basket with the fat quarters that I showed last time. This is a basket that I used to keep all my needles in that were like my long straight needles, but I wanted to cue some stuff up there. I stole a lamp from Megwin's room, and I apologize if it's making the colors a little bit weird, but we went to the grocery store, and then we decided we were going to go out for dinner, so we went to get some pho, which was really great, and Joshua was really well behaved, and Megwin was fine, but there was something that happened, which I'll talk about at the end of the episode, so I don't waste everybody's time who doesn't want to hear about that kind of stuff. So anyway, yeah, I think it's going to be really good. I've got a basket down on the bottom that has a lot of my fabric kind of broken into projects that I want to do. I've got my sewing machine case underneath, so I can easily pop it into there if I do need to work from home. So like I said, I'm just really pleased about how this space is turning out, and yeah, I just have the part you can't see on camera to clean up, which is just a play table. There's like a day sofa in here, and then all along this wall is my stash, and it's kind of a mess right now. It's sort of falling out of the cubbies that I have it in, and I just need to reorganize it. So anyway, I will start with finished objects because I have one, and I see two stink bugs in the frame. There's one on my light, and there's one crawling up along the ceiling. So if you all see them coming towards me and are like, oh my god, it's right behind you, sorry, it's that time of year. they're all starting to try and find places to go and hibernate for the winter. And we have an old house, so it's not sealed the best. So bugs are always something that kind of gets in. We usually have ladybugs, and now stupid stink bugs get in. So this time in fall, you see them kind of on the walls, and then like first thing in the spring, like when it starts to get warm, we'll see them kind of come out. And the ladybugs I don't mind, but the stink bugs gross me out. So anyway, finished objects. I might have to pause this and kill them. Yeah. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, bye. Yeah, they were getting a little too lively for my taste. So those of you who follow me on Instagram have already seen this, but I finished Megwin's sweater, and I am so happy with how it turned out. So here it is. Oops, let me show you the front. Here it is. So it's got fun little pockets and cute sleeves. I might still lengthen the sleeves, however, I'm giving Megwin a chance to wear it with the sleeves the length they are right now, just because she goes back and forth on whether she wants them to be longer or not. She tends to get really hot, so I think she'll actually be happy with the sleeves where they are right now. But we'll see. I don't know. I don't care either way. The kind of the other finishing stuff made me feel a little bit better about if I get all of that done and all the ends woven in, then lengthening the sleeves isn't a big deal. So there's the little pockets. I did, the pink strip on the outside, and I did them in brown on the inside because I had more of the brown left than I did the pink. And if I extend the sleeves, I was a little bit worried about the pink. So I figured I'd just use the brown, and nobody's going to see it anyway. So I'm really pleased with how they turned out when I sewed them on, because you just sew them onto the back. So I'll show you. I haven't trimmed the ends yet because I haven't blocked it. And I don't trim my ends until I wash and block, because sometimes it needs a little bit of extra space. But yeah, see? I think they went really well on sewing them in. And for those of you just joining me who haven't seen this for many weeks, this is the Little Honey pattern by Amy Miller, and the yarn is No Maker's Scruffy Gnome in Strawberries and Cookies. Sorry about that. My husband wanted to check in and make sure that Megwin was upstairs with me because it's starting to get dark outside. So she was playing outside before, and he went and gave the baby a bath. So anyway, as I said, she's watching a movie. So I'm super happy with how it turned out, and if this were in my size, I would totally steal it. But I do have the larger size. It's called Honey by Amy Miller, and it's basically the same pattern. I think the neckline is a little more rounded, and it has waist shaping, and I don't believe it has the pockets, but it might have the pockets. I'll have to check on that. But anyway, it's basically the same sweater, just with grown-up details. So I'm really excited about that. I entered it into the Purposeful Stash Along from the Little Bobbins Knits podcast. I'm also doing the Sept Cal from the Knitting Expat podcast, and of course in my own Double Dip Cal. So that's super fun. And then I was kind of inspired to work on my blankets, and I was between projects, so I had finished the sweater and I wasn't quite ready to cast anything new on yet, so I figured I'd do a couple of Hexie Puffs. So I used some of the minis from the Mini Skein Swap from Molly's group, the Homespun House group, and this was one mini skein, It's a really cool striping pattern, so I guess it would have been like that on socks. But I was able to make 2 Hexie Puffs out of it. I have no idea what the base is because it wasn't labeled. But I like it. It's a little bit thicker of a sock yarn, which is nice. And then I also did this one, so I haven't trimmed any ends yet. I just kind of finished them. And then I did this one, and I think this one is the Kaffe Fassett Opal or Regia. Yeah, Regia Design Line, that's what it is, and it's the Kaffe Fassett. So that is all of the Hexie Puffs that I did. And then moving into whips. I thought that it might be fun to not only talk about my current whips, but also talk about some of my longer term whips, because yes, I have some, just like all of us do, right? We all have something that's sort of been sitting in a bag for a little while.
Mom, I like your segment.
Oh, thank you. All right, make sure that you're quiet and don't hit my camera, please. Okay?
Okay, Mom?
Yeah. What's up?
Can I have some more of those?
Oh, you want more of my gummies? Yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
Oh, you bumped the camera.
Sorry.
Okay, can you go back to watch your movie?
Yeah, I paused it so I could get
Oh.
more candy.
Okay. Don't eat too much candy so your tummy doesn't get upset, okay? Because it was upset earlier. Alright. Am I recording? See, now I can't remember. Yep, I am. I've paused it so many times for different stuff that I keep forgetting now if I turned it back on. So, something that I was working on before I got pregnant with Joshua was the Julissa scoop neck sweater, and I was knitting it in this yarn, which is a really, really pretty green. It is the Gaia's Colors Mama Quilla worsted, and she no longer dyes yarn. She was in Canada, and I think she stopped dyeing to stay home with her children. I feel like I've shown this before. I probably have, like a long time ago. But I would like to start working on it again, and Laurel, who's Coddington on Ravelry, said she wants to knit one as well. So I'm kind of making myself be accountable, right? So this is the sweater. It's really pretty. It's a fitted kind of pullover with cables, and it's got like, what do you call those? Elbow length sleeves. A little bit longer than elbow length. And obviously you could make them longer than this. I think there's one version that's full length, but I was thinking probably that long, or maybe, you know, a little bit longer than that, but I really love it. It's beautiful. So I got, I think, down to where the bust part is, and I think the camera isn't going down that far, but I got maybe halfway down the bust, and then I stopped. So here's what I have. I'm trying really hard not to get it off the needles. And I was alternating skeins, like I should, because it's a hand-dyed and it is fairly tonal. So I didn't want it to have any big, variegation or any pooling or anything like that. So there's the stitch pattern on the front. It's really pretty. And then it has that same cable on the arm, going down the arm. So there's that. So every time I look at this, I remember how much I adore this color. And it's very soft. It's a very, very soft single. It is not superwash. So it's just a single ply merino. And yeah, I really, really love it. So I would like to get back to this. But of course I have a million things planned, so you know, who knows when that'll happen. But I feel like I'm better at alternating skeins now than I was when I was knitting this. So I think it'll go better, because part of my problem was that I think I was, I felt like I was twisting too often or too tightly. So I didn't have a lot of give on that side of the sweater. And I think I can do it better now. So, yeah. I think I'm going to pick that back up again. And start working on it. And I think I've proven to myself that I can wear the same size that I wore before I had Joshua, so I shouldn't have to rip back and do a different size. And I'm very impressed with myself for this. I left my chart with a sticky, and I don't want to give away too much of the chart, but I had some sticky tape on there. So I know exactly where I left off on the cable, which is great. So, yep, so that's that. The Julissa pullover by Vanessa Smith. And then most of my other whips are over here, so give me 1 second. Along with an eyelash curler from my car that I forgot to bring in before. Some cookies from Whole Foods, because we went to Whole Foods. Okay, now that's it. So a little bit more of the cowl for my husband Josh. I'm in the middle of a row, unfortunately. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I'll just pull this like that, so it'll be safe. Okay, so this is the willow cowl, and normally has a picot edge on it, like a folded picot hem. My husband didn't want the picot hem. I mean, he's worn mine. Sorry, my throat's starting to get really dry. He's worn mine with the picot hem, and it's fine. But since I'm making it for him, I can make it exactly how he wants it. So I just did a normal folded hem. So I kind of used the same directions, but I worked 1 purl row halfway through so that you can do the fold. And then I'm in the process of working the other half of this folded hem, which I think looks so neat. I always think folded hems just look so professional, like you know what you're doing. So yeah, but they take for freaking ever, because you essentially knit, if you haven't done a folded hem before, you knit a certain amount of rows. In this case I knit 8 rows. I knit 1 purl row, and then I knit 8 rows again, and then you fold it in half, and you pick up the first stitch from your cast on, and you knit it together with the stitches that are on your needle currently. And so you end up with the same amount of stitches that you started with, but you have this lovely folded hem. And that's what it looks like on the inside. And it keeps it from rolling, which is nice, because you can see it's rolling just like you would expect stockinette to do. And I don't want it to do that on the bottom of the cowl. So he's really excited that I'm working on his cowl. He was talking about it today and how he's so excited to have it to wear. So again, here's the yarn. It is No Maker's Scruffy Gnome, because I like that yarn, in the Gnome Some Dove colorway. And I have enough of this to do a sweater for Joshua too. Like I said last time, I'm going to do the sock yarn sweater by Hannah Fedek. But I'll probably take a little break, because I've been doing a lot of fingering weight on larger needles. And yeah, I want to do some stuff for me some shawls, and yeah, I'll get back to it though. So that is that. And then I put a little bit more of a dent in my vanilla latte socks with the Octopus Garden colorway of Footsie from Vine. So I am done with the ribbing, and now I'm starting on the normal, it's a 6x2 rib. So you just do knit 6, purl 2, and then the next row you work just a knit row all the way around, so it's a broken rib down the leg. So I am working my way down on those, which is good. That was my car project today while we drove around, and it's living in my Vine Yarns Cape Cod bag. Excuse me. Throat. With my little lighthouse zipper pull / stitch marker. And the last thing I worked on this week is my blanket. Didn't do a ton, but I'm trying to finish off. I've got a skein of yarn that's most of the way done, which I'm trying to figure out where it is right now. There it is. So it's like a yarn bracelet. Ooh, it's beautiful. So I don't have a lot of it left. So my goal was to get through all of this weekend, but I didn't quite get there. But maybe tonight I might knit a little bit while I maybe watch the rest of Aladdin with Penguin. I need to do some laundry too, so maybe while I'm waiting for loads to complete, I might knit a little bit on my blanket, especially since the baby's asleep. That's awesome. That means I can use both my hands. So I just knit across this side, so not very much. And some people had asked me how big it is now, and I was totally going to measure it, but I can't find a tape measure because I think all of mine are broken or lost. So I need to buy some. I'm gonna guess though it's at least 3 feet. I think I have a ruler in my sewing stuff somewhere. I have like a rigid ruler that I use, but I didn't put it up here on my desk yet. I think it's still down in my, I've got one of those sewing machine cases that has wheels on it, and it has the pull-up handle, so I can pull it from room to room, which is really nice because I used to keep it in the dining room, and I would set it up when I could, and then I had to take it back down and move it out if we wanted to eat dinner. I'm so sorry. Eat dinner at the table, or if we were having guests over or something like that. So the wheels make it nice for that. So that is all my whips. I don't have any acquisitions to share this week. Do I? No, I do not have any acquisitions to share this week. I did want to share some of the... Whoa, I'm sorry. This is much closer to me than usual, and I'm in a different chair. So I was talking about the yarn that I had that matched the yarn I was going to use for the windswept shawl. So I wanted to show that to you guys. So this is it. It is Fiber Spates. Is it Luscious DK? I don't know. Anyway, it says it's Fiber Spates DK. When I look at it, I think that's a worsted. I don't think it's DK at all. And I think that Ravelry actually lists it as a worsted. Yeah, I think it's Scrumptious DK. Fiber Spates Scrumptious DK. But it's just a cream color. It's a little bit, it's got a little bit of a sheen to it. I think it might have some silk content in it. I should have looked it up. So I think that I am going to knit a Molly hat, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. It's got like a seed stitch background and then a double cable going up one side. It's a little bit slouchy, and it's very pretty, kind of simple, and it's a free pattern, like I said, so that's nice. So yeah, I think I'm going to knit that, and then it will match my windswept shawl. Probably won't have cream colored mittens though, because that wouldn't go well in this house. But yeah, I very much like this yarn, and I'm really happy that I've finally decided on what I'm going to knit with it, because I've had it around for a little while. And what else? Oh yeah, I wanted to show, I'm sorry for the crackling. I know sometimes it's really, really loud because I use my onboard mic from my camera, and it picks up sounds in a weird way, but I'm just not ready yet to spend the extra money on getting a microphone. Maybe if I get more popular and more people are actually watching my podcast, I will. But for right now, I think it's fine. So, Kristen from the Yarngasm podcast, who is the dyer behind Bull and Vine Yarns, which I absolutely love, if you couldn't tell, is running a featherweight cowl. And I believe it started the first day of fall, and it's going through December? Don't quote me on that, but go check out her group if you want more details or if you want in. So I have wanted to knit a featherweight for a while, and I thought this was a great opportunity to do it. There'll be a lot of people knitting with me, lots of encouragement, and because of the long time frame, I probably will have at least a chance that I might finish it, because I do have a lot of other things that I kind of have commitments for. Like I said, the cowl, I want to do the shawl, but I do want to knit some sort of cardigan for me. So I have another cardigan, which I'm going to show you in a second, that I want to knit, and yeah, but I'll at least cast it on and work on it some. So I wanted to make a lace weight version, and I've had this yarn for a really long time, and I'm sure this is not coming up the gorgeous color that it is. Because this is almost impossible to photograph. I have tried to photograph. It just glows. It's the deepest blue that I have ever seen. And when I saw it in the yarn shop, I literally stopped in my tracks and went, what the heck is that? That is the most amazing blue that I've ever seen. And I had to have it. And I actually special ordered because she did not have enough for a sweater. And I originally was going to make a geodesic cardigan with it, but I've kind of looked at those finished objects and looked at different people that have made them, and I've sort of decided that people with my body type, I don't know. I don't like it as much as some other designs. And I want this yarn, which I love so much, to be perfect. I want it to be something wonderful that I'm going to be absolutely in love with. And yeah, so I think a featherweight is a great idea. It's very simple. I will probably make mine a little bit longer. The one that's on the pattern itself is a little bit shorter than what I usually knit my cardigans at, or wear cardigans at. I tend to like mine to be down more towards my hips. So hopefully I have enough yarn for that. I think I have 5 skeins, which I'm pretty sure is more than enough for the featherweight in the lace weight size. Yeah, I have 4 skeins, which is, each one is 470 yards, so, I mean, do the math. If I was rounding up to 500, I'd have about 2,000 yards. And I feel like the yardage requirements for it aren't too bad. And if I had to, I could do another skein that was a slightly different color for like the bands. They're not really button bands because it's an open cardigan, but for the bands and the ribbing. Because I'll alternate skeins for sure. Because Malabrigo does not have dye lots. I did buy them all at the same time, so that's good. But yeah, oh, it's so squishy, it's so beautiful. I love it, and it's in the Azul Polita colorway. So blue cloud, no, blue ball. So yeah, that is exciting. I'm pretty psyched. That's that guy. And then Disa from Disa's Craftworks podcast and I have been corresponding, and she is just the sweetest person ever. I love her to death. She's very genuine and just really neat to talk to. And so she and I were talking about doing kind of an informal knit along, just of the calligraphy cardigan, which is another Hanafetic pattern. So apparently it's going to be a Hanafetic kind of fall and winter. And what I wanted to use for that is this fun stuff, which I have had. I think this is my oldest sweater's quantity of yarn. It was the first sweater quantity that I ever bought for myself when I first started knitting. So I bought it in 2003 from a store in San Francisco. It was in their sale room. I think they were like stopping carrying this brand, and so I bought 20 skeins of it, and my husband, who was my fiance at the time, was like, "You're crazy, what are you going to do with that much yarn?" And this was before he really knew that I do slowly work my way through my stash, and I wasn't, to be fair, I was not at all even close to knitting sweaters at that point. I don't think I started knitting sweaters till maybe a couple years ago. But I wanted it, and I knew someday I would knit sweaters, and it was an amazing price. So it is Laines du Nord Cache Silk. The content is 50% merino extra fine unshrinkable, 25% silk, and 25% cashmere. So imagine 50 merino, 25 silk, 25 cashmere. This is stinking soft stuff. And I just love it. It's like a kind of lavender color. And like I said, I have 20 skeins. So I don't think it's superwash. Yeah, it's not superwash because there's a little hand going into the tub. So it's a hand wash only. But it's so pretty. So I think that's what I'm going to use for my calligraphy cardigan. And a long time ago, I actually started using it. I did a test knit for a designer, and I ended up going with a different yarn than this because I didn't like how this one was coming out. So I have a tiny bit of the top of a sweater. And I can't even, the sad thing is I can't even use this as a gauge swatch because I have no idea what size needles I was using. Because it'd be huge enough that I could probably use it as a gauge swatch. Although I knit completely differently now, so it probably wouldn't be a very good gauge swatch. But you get an idea, like there's really great stitch definition with it. So, I mean, I'm not going to not knit with that piece. For sure, so I'll probably unravel that and skein it and wash it because it's been knit up for a very long time, a couple years at least. But there's the whole bag. And I'm excited that I have found a purpose for it. It has a hole in this bag, so that doesn't make me very happy. Okay, hopefully nothing has gotten in there. Eek. Eek. Like I said, we have an old house and bugs get in. Sarah, who is Mrs. Shu from the Innisnit podcast, she did her own like little solo episode called Whip Wrangling recently, and she was talking about that she doesn't leave her stash out because she also lives in an old house. So Sarah, I sympathize with you completely. Most of mine is in bags like this, or I have some that I keep in like these. So whenever we buy like a mattress pad or sheets or comforters or anything like that, I keep these bags because they have these really great zippers, and I hate throwing stuff like that away anyway. It makes me feel bad. Like, I don't need to be making extra trash. So I keep them and I put my stash in them. And sometimes I even double up. Like, here's the rest of my Gaia's colors, which I wasn't going to bother to show the label because she doesn't dye yarn anymore, but there you go. There it is in this game. Ooh, I could... Ah, the colorway is Volta. Sorry for the crinkling again. So anyway, yep, try to protect my yarn because I love my yarn and I don't want anything to happen to it. Yep, I think that was all I was going to show. So this week was a good week. I got some time kind of at the end of the week to get caught up on some stuff at work, which is really nice. I felt a little bit more like I was starting to get ahead of things, which I've previously felt like I'm just desperately trying to keep my head above water, so it's nice to feel like I'm making headway. We made a really, really good new recipe this week, which I wanted to share with you guys because I know I had mentioned before talking about vegetarian recipes because a couple of people had said they were interested. So it was from the Minimalist Baker's Cookbook, which they sell on their website for I think $9.95 or something like that. It's not very much. And it is a download of a cookbook, a meal planner, so it has like 4 weeks worth of meals planned out, and then there's a grocery list for each week. And what they try to do is they try to take recipes from one night and then like you're sharing ingredients between multiple recipes, which is really convenient. And then you even incorporate leftovers from one night into the next night. So like they have one where you make a vegetarian black bean chili, and then the next night you make baked potatoes with chili on them and some other toppings, so you're using up the rest of your chili. And then I think they have a salad that week because you make cornbread to go with the chili, and they have a salad that week that you toast leftover cornbread to make croutons. So we haven't really done that because we have a big enough family now that we could probably go through the food fairly quickly. So I think most of the recipes tend to be geared towards that it's just she and her husband. Sorry, it's just her and her husband. So that it's very nice if you just have 2 people to cook for. It's a great cookbook. And we have just been doubling all of the recipes, which is fabulous. And that seems to work really well. So the one that we did this week was a chickpea tomato stew. And it has a can of diced tomatoes, a can of chickpeas, a can of coconut milk. So we used light coconut milk, an onion, a bell pepper, I think what else? Garlic. Of course, you put some water in there, so you thin everything out with some water. We put ancho chili powder in it, and I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I can't remember what I'm forgetting. But yeah, oh yeah, I've got it in my phone, in my OneNote. I can look it up for you. So essentially what we did is we threw ours in the crock pot, and that worked out really well because my husband was able to just throw it in the crock pot in the morning and it was all ready to go when I got home from work, which I love. And yeah, it's super tasty. Oh, tomato paste is the other thing. So use tomato paste as well. And then what we did was we served it over rice because it's kind of a thicker stew, more like, than just a soup. So it's not going to be thin like a soup. It's more like a stew. So we served it over rice one night, and then the next night we had enough left over that we, sorry, my phone is probably making even more weird light. We were able to serve it over quinoa for the second night, and Megan really loved the chickpeas. She actually ate like 3 sets of chickpeas, which, I mean, we don't give her that much for each time that we serve her because often she just eats a tiny bit and then moves on. But she actually asked for more and more and more beans, as she called them, and the chickpeas were really delicious. So I highly recommend that recipe, and definitely if you are looking for good vegetarian cooking, I highly recommend that cookbook. So it is 31 easy meals, something like that. But if you go to minimalistbaker.com, they have a cookbook and you can buy it online. And we use a lot of their free recipes as well, but that was totally worth it. Like I said, it was only like $9, $10, and it came with all those great meal planners and stuff, and I just downloaded the grocery list to my phone so I could just pull those up, and they're even like, you can check into the check boxes next to them when you get the ingredients, so they're amazing. It's perfect. So this week we're going to try their vegetarian pad thai recipe. So we got all the ingredients for that, and I think we're going to make that chickpea stew again and have that a little bit later in the week because it'll be the beginning of the month, which means that we're closing the books because I'm an accountant. So I'm always a little bit more busy the beginning of the month, so we try to just make easy meals that are quick to warm up so I can take them with me if I need to work late, or we just don't have to mess with dealing with dinner on top of everything else, because usually the kids just want to spend time with me when I do get home. We don't want to rush around and try to get things together, so it works for our family. Trying to think if anything else interesting happened. Nope, I don't think so. I did catch the update for Wool and Vine Yarns to get the Christmas yarn for my Itty Bitty Advent package for the Itty Bitty Knits group. So that's my Christmas yarn. I think it was the Y for Yuletide yarn. So I'm starting to get things done there, and I'm going to do a couple of sewing projects tonight, and that will be closer to being done. So anyway, I think that's all I have for this week. Thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you have a great week and get a chance to do the things that you love, and I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye. Hang on, it's not recording. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.